Hello, I'm Judith Richards. I'm the creator of TRTP, and I am today speaking with Annie this lovely afternoon. And Annie is Annalisa Kerrigan, known to her friends as Annie. And behind Annie, we have Annie's beautiful horse, Indy, who is just a divine, amazing creature. And there we go. There we go. There's the face. There's the face.
Hello.
Yeah. Yep.
Hello.
Beautiful. Annie is something of a very talented horsewoman. And we'll hear more about that in a little while because she's doing a lot of work with children and horses and adults too, Annie?
Yes, adults. Most of my work is in performance and elite performance of all sorts.
Including
in
horse?
music, but in horses as well. And what we're finding is that it's spreading by word of mouth now, because for every one person that goes out, there's 10 people that want to come in.
Right, and that's to each of
more.
those programs, whether it's performing arts or horsemanship.
Yep, equine connection. So we're teaching basically skills to cope with life using horses as a reflection of ourselves, and it's really it's beautiful to watch. It's beautiful to watch people connect, especially if they've become disconnected with people.
Excellent.
Because, so it's really lovely to do. So that's sort of a program that's just been started and it's already popular, so that's lovely. But I work with elite ballet dancers and singers and musicians and sports people as well.
Okay, for those who don't know Annalisa Kerrigan, just go on YouTube.
Yeah.
She's all over it.
Yeah.
She's a highly regarded recording artist and a performer in the world of opera and singing. Opera originally, and then other music after that. That's another story. But so Annie came to TRTP, the Richards Trauma Process, a year ago. That's when I met Annie, but I'd heard about her just a little before then. She has a bit of an interesting, she has an extraordinary story. And so over to you, Annie. How did you come to TRTP?
Sorry. I had, so basically I had a very successful career, and everything from the outside looked amazing, and people would often say, gosh, you're so lucky and what a brilliant life you're having, and incredible success flying around the world. I went to a very good school, a postgrad degree, everything was tick 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 tick, and inside I was gradually falling apart, and I couldn't talk about it because I'd been taught very early on not to speak about it.
Yes.
And I couldn't work out. Yes, I couldn't work out what was wrong with me, and it got worse and worse. I ended up in a series of abusive relationships, and that was pretty awful and very, very isolated. I got more and more isolated. Found myself doing IVF and had a beautiful young boy, and my partner left me slightly after that, and that broke me. And I ended up with extreme PTSD, so post-traumatic stress disorder, to the point where about 2 years after that, or 3 years after that, sorry, I ended up with the brain shutdown, where I got a terrible stutter that happened overnight. Sorry, I've got a dog here. Hello, doggy. I felt my brain go pop. And I
so you literally felt
I felt
your brain go pop.
Yep. So they thought I'd had a stroke. My son was just watching Sesame Street. He was not doing anything special. And I wasn't, I no longer ceased to function. My brain just went, I can't do this anymore. It had been a build-up of rage, and I mean extreme rage at what I would say now would be justifiable causes of rage that I couldn't address because I didn't have the skills to address the injustices that I believe had been done to my younger self. I'd always tried to do the best I could, and it wasn't coming back to me. So I broke. So the stutter appeared, and it was very bad. I had a vocal change, and as a singer and someone that is a linguist, I remember sitting in the ambulance saying, well, I couldn't speak, and this lovely, beautiful ambulance paramedic came in, very handsome man, came in and said, "Hello, my name's Carl." And he said to me, "Can you tell me your name?" And I couldn't. Nothing came out.
That's
So
terrifying.
terrifying, especially when you're a single mum.
Especially when you've got a little boy.
With a little boy who's in the next room.
I have to be able to speak. Hello, I'm a mother. Don't you understand?
And a singing teacher.
and my life is my voice.
Yes. And I lost that.
My livelihood. How am I going to look after this child? I can't speak. I can't work.
Yep, exactly.
Terrifying.
And not only that, but I'd lost at the same time the ability to map. I couldn't follow simple directions. So I remember a few days later, I ended up staying with a friend who kindly took myself and my son in because I wasn't functioning, and trying to read a simple recipe to make a tomato soup. And I'm a cook. I love cooking. I used to run cooking courses in Tuscany, but I was following this recipe and I couldn't remember the last word or the first word when I got to a sentence. It was just all very unclear. And I couldn't follow the alphabet. So my brain literally stopped working. I couldn't count and I couldn't speak in other languages, which to me has always been very natural to drop in and out of different languages. I just lost it. So
what did the doctors say?
Well, they did all the tests. They thought I had a stroke. It turns out that I didn't have a stroke in the traditional sense of a stroke, but there is new terminology that they're starting to use in Texas and in other places where people are displaced and end up paralyzed in some way often. And they're calling it, they've got different names for it, but the name that was used for me was a trauma stroke. So the neurologist said to me, it is the same as a stroke, but without the physiological reason. So it's a psychological stroke, if you like, a psychocentric stroke.
Wow.
Where the brain just shuts down on one side. Now, I was sort of like, I couldn't find anything on Google. I was, and I couldn't find any answers. I was internally, I was dying. I was looking at my son and going, I can't even read you a story at bedtime. It was really terrible. Anyway, so a friend of mine who'd had an aneurysm said, and she'd developed a stutter, said, well, go and see this lady, Helena, and she might be able to help because she helped with my stutter. So I said, okay. So I made an appointment, and honestly, I thought I was going to be taken. I thought it was rubbish. The neurologist had said it's not fixable, or if it is fixable, you need to be on high doses of Valium, high doses of sertraline or SSRIs in order to, and I quote, separate your emotional self from your logical self, because your emotions have become too overbearing and therefore you cannot function in everyday society. So to get you into society, we need to use every medical means possible
to shut down your emotions,
to shut down my emotional side.
Whoa.
And that didn't sound right to me, and it wasn't helping. And the other thing they said was it would take years to get my speech back. And one thing I noticed, I started to experiment myself because I work with voice and I could tell where it was coming from. So I put my hand around my ear and my stutter would go, take my hand off and my stutter would come back. So I was doing all this experimentation thinking there must be another way. So I started to get familiar with the brain and the way the brain works, the way anxiety works, the way this might have happened. And I didn't know. No one could tell me. I saw professionals at the Alfred and at St. Vincent's Hospital. No one could help. Anyway, I went to see this lady, Helena McCallum, who is a TRTP practitioner. Initially, I saw her as a psychologist, and she said, look, I'm doing this program called TRTP and it's going to help. And I was like, well, you're the first person that said they can help me. And either you're full of crap or you're the only person that can help me. So I booked in because I had nothing to lose. I was in a situation that, I couldn't continue. And the person I was staying with said to me, I think we need to put you in hospital, back in hospital, because I'd been in hospital. And I thought, I can't do that. So I said to her, can I just stay for long enough to do the TRTP? And she said, okay. So I went to do it. And the first session I did with Helena, I got most of my speech back.
Yay.
And that was extraordinary. And I remember I went outside and the sun was shining, and I looked at the grass on the ground and I thought, geez, that's beautiful. Look at that grass. It's really beautiful. And then I looked at the sky and it was like, look at the sun. It's really beautiful. Gosh, this world's beautiful. What's happened? Something weird happened.
Yep.
And the second session was the big mover and shaker for me. I'd tried to punch somebody in a large store in Melbourne. I'd also tried to run somebody over in my car prior to this. The rage
and PTSD.
They cut me off in the car and I was going to take them out. And, you know, it's situations like that. Now I look at people with road rage and I think, you are traumatized. You need help. I just wish and hope you get help, because there is a way out of road rage. And I think it comes from there. And so that's my son in the background calling the dog, if you can hear weird noises. So that rage, and I learnt the difference between protector rage, which is the one that you need to shut down the stress and the anxiety, and the anger that just goes out and hits anything that remotely hits the wound. Yeah. And that's dangerous. That's really dangerous.
Very dangerous. You can get yourself into some very bad situations.
Yeah. And again, I look at domestic violence and I look at all sorts of things now, and I think, again, it's, you know, there's so much of that that's early childhood trauma based, and it's given me a whole new knowledge of how the world functions and why people do what they do.
And it can be put in one sentence: hurt people hurt people.
Exactly. Hurt people.
Take away the hurt, the rage disappears and nobody gets hurt.
100%. 100%. By the third session, I was back on track, and a week later, literally, I went out. I got an interview for a job at a school. Didn't tell them that I had up to a week ago I had a stutter and was not functioning, and I ended up with, I think, 28 children. I was teaching pretty much like that. Bang. I went into my first day thinking, crap, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And then I kept saying to myself, oh, I'm all right. I've got this. This is what I'm trained to do. I've got this. I'm enough. I'm going to be okay. And what I found was, as I was teaching, I had a lot of anxious students. So I was able to bring in what I'd learnt into
to help the kids.
These kids. So they'd say, oh, I can't do that. It's too hard. And I'd be like, let's think about that. I want you to just imagine how it feels to do it. I want you to imagine how it feels to sing completely easily. Just imagine. You don't have to do it. You just imagine what it feels like to be singing with absolute, just everything you are. Nothing more, nothing less, because that's all you need to be. And I started to find that my language as a teacher changed. And that's really when I got interested in learning how to do this, because I saw children coming to life. And that was extraordinary. Yeah. And I since then I've bought a house. I'd been homeless for an awfully long time. I'd been traveling the world. My son had moved 19 times since he was born. He's just turning 6 next week. So he was turning 5 at the time all this was happening. He missed his birthday because I was too sick. So this year we're having 2 birthdays. And I'm finding every day I wake up, I feel relaxed and good and happy and right. We're doing today. Here's my coffee. Here's my this. Here's my that. I've got all these people. It's wonderful. It's fabulous. Finances have sorted themselves out. Stuff still happens. I've had some bits of, I'd say partial relapses, but this time I can turn around and say, I can deal with this. I've got this. I know how to fix this. And I go back. What am I afraid of? Where's that fear coming from? And I can fix it. And that's the extraordinary thing. So stuff still happens, but I realize it and I can say, oh, okay, I've got this. This isn't going to take over. This is me now, and I'm enough. And I can take that part of me and say, it's okay, hun. You're all right. We've got this. Look how amazing life is. So it's been a huge journey. I was suicidal from probably the age of about 12.
Yeah.
I'm 47 now. Yeah. So that was a long time to be dealing with suicidality. A long time. I I had various different problems, but I was accused of all sorts of things: borderline personality disorder. I was accused of having a desperate fear of abandonment. I had anorexia, was hospitalized with that. There have been so many issues through my life, and all the time I realize now it was my brain saying, I can't cope. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. And now after TRTP, I really do.
Yeah.
And that's the extraordinary change is that I know who I am. And I look at other people and I think, yep, I get it. Whatever you're going through right now, I so get it. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Whatever you're feeling right now, if it's rage, if it's whatever it is, it's much, much better to deal with it than to keep trying to function under the pressure, the pressure cooker that we find ourselves in life.
Yeah.
And that's what TRTP does. It gives you those skills. Yeah. Gets you out of the pressure cooker. Whoa! Dog just crashed into me. Sorry.
It's, it's all happening.
Got lots of dogs back here. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, look, this.
That's Stuart. Stuart's got his muzzle on him because there's another dog here that he likes getting a bit rough with. So we just got a muzzle on him today. So
Good on you, Stuart.
Yeah.
Great name for a dog.
Yes.
Stuart.
Yes. So I have to thank Helena. She started me on this journey, and then learning what I've learned has been just it's been a joy, an absolute joy, and I'm just find myself filled with love and understanding. And once you get that,
There's no going back.
Yeah.
Everything changes. And what sort of results are you getting with your clients that come for TRTP?
Incredible.
What sort of issues do they have?
The main one is, especially for the kids that I work with, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And you look at these kids and they're elite. They're really good. I mean, they're amazing. And I can see that. They look at themselves and they think, yes, but I can't do this and I can't do that, and I'm no good at that, and I didn't win the last competition, and I should have done this, and I only got an A, not a double A or a triple A or whatever, and you're like, oh my gosh. And some of them are suicidal. Some of them have terrible panic attacks. Some of them self-harm. And when I say self-harm, I mean they overreach. They try and push themselves too far. And for me, it's taking the pressure off and saying, there's no such thing as failure. There's no such thing as stuffing up. All it is you're learning, and that's fine. That's okay. So what do we get out of this? Let's find what you're afraid of. Let's switch that off. And now you can really do what you want to do. And it's all out of love. And my gosh, you're going to get incredible results. And they do. They do.
Yeah.
They connect with themselves. They connect with their hearts. The people around them connect with them. The bullying stops. The competitiveness stops, and it just becomes flow. And the best artists, the best sportsmen to me, like Don Bradman said, what did he say? I'm lucky because I practice. Every time I practice, I get luckier. Well, that's the way to look at it, isn't it? It's just we're all learning, all of us. None of us are gurus. We're all learning.
We are, indeed.
Yeah.
And do you have any adult clients? Yes,
I do. I've had some incredible, very extreme PTSD clients, and they're the ones I think, they are terrified of trusting anyone. And I know that feeling, because I went into Helena thinking, as I said, I'm going to get taken. I'm going to pay this woman money. She's going to laugh all the way to the bank, and I'm just going to end up being done yet once more. And instead, my life changed. And they come to me, and I have to say to them, be really honest. I can fix this. But you've got to believe I can fix this. And that's where it starts. And what I find is, like, I've had some terrible people who have been through terrible times. So stuck under a table and can't get out of under the table. I've had people who have.
Wait, is that metaphorically or really?
No, literally.
Literally, they can't. They're sitting under a table and they're not coming out. These are adults.
These are adults with children in the house. I'm not coming out. I can't come out. I can't, I'll die. If I come out, I'll die.
Isn't it
And
horrendous what
yeah,
people live with? And
yeah, and then walking out at the end of session 4 for that one, saying, it's gone, the fear's gone. Yeah. I feel amazing. Yeah, I've never felt like this.
that's
I
right.
really love myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool, isn't it? It's cool. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. That in 3, sometimes 4 sessions, that someone's entire life can be turned around as yours was so completely, going from that desolate, desperate space.
Yes.
And being homeless, not able to speak, nothing. And now you've got your horse, you've got your dogs, you've got your house, your whole life's turned around.
And
you're
more important,
sought out and sought after.
Absolutely. And I'd say the most important thing for me is that the cycle has been broken.
For your son.
So yes, for that cycle of that cycle of abuse, the I used to believe that being shouted at was normal. I used to believe that being criticized and put down and told that I was a piece of shit was normal. I used to believe that punishing myself and feeling guilty and humiliated, and that I had to be perfect to be loved, that I had to be wealthy to be loved, that I had to be the best in my career to be loved, was correct. And it's not. I am loved. I am wealthy. I am everything I ever wanted to be. And if people don't get that, that's seriously their problem. Come to me for help.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you see the language that goes around, like the other day, I just said without thinking to someone, I love myself. And they said, like this. And I said, no, I really do. It's a good feeling. You should try it sometime. And and I could see it didn't compute. It just didn't compute.
No.
But maybe somewhere down that track, that person might go away, I hope, and think, I wish I could love myself. How do I start this? How do I do this? And to me, the answer is just do TRTP. It's really easy. It's 3 to 4 sessions.
Really easy.
Done, tick, finished.
It's not rocket science.
Yep. It's not. It's just understanding how we work, how our brains have evolved. Yeah. And that's a puzzle that can be easily worked out. Yeah.
It is simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it seems that the greatest discoveries are pretty simple.
They are. And the beauty in it, I guess, is that the more of us that feel this way, the better the world is going to be. And I see the amount of suicides that are going on with veterans. I see the amount of suicides that kids and Indigenous people are, and I just think, my God, please, please, can the world wake up and start practicing this at school, everywhere. Parents with kids, learn it, because once you know it, you can never unknow it. And you can affect your child so beautifully. Your child will grow up to be happy. Happy. So that's my aim. Get the whole world feeling happy, one person at a time.
Yeah, one person at a time. And TRTP is simple. It's 3 to 4 sessions. And Annie is a very loved member of our TRTP practitioner community. And we will change the world. So stay tuned. And thank you, Annie. Annalisa Kerrigan in Melbourne, with lovely Indy there in the background, the beautiful horse. And you can find Annie's details on our practitioner directory on the website, therichards.traumaprocess.com, therichards.traumaprocess.com. Check her out.
Thanks, Judith. It's been a wonderful journey.
Yes, and Annie, extraordinary woman that you are, thank you for joining us on this journey.
I look forward to so much more TRTP in the future. It's going to be great fun.
Yeah, thanks, Annie.
Bye.